This is the video presentation for the OER20 of Openness in Teachers' Digital Competence Frameworks, Looking for the Open Educator, by Gemma, Victoria Marín, Leo Havemann, Fabio Nacimbeni, and Dawn Marsh.
This is also a next step of an open team that started out in OER18 defining OEP as threshold practices. In this new work, we need to see how digital frameworks boost open educational practices and if these are enough to transform identities towards that of the open educator. During the last couple of decades, educational research has been alive with the discussion of learning as a process of grasping certain threshold concepts, also understood as attaining or crossing conceptual thresholds. In our OER18 conference presentation and recent journal article, we've attempted to put to work those aspects of this theory which might best assist an exploration of the under-researched impact of opening up aspects of teaching upon philosophical and political beliefs and attitudes, knowledge and practices, and eventually educator identity. Furthermore, how might we support educators in their transition towards open practices? There have been a wide variety of definitions of digital competence, from early, narrow, and technology-focused explanations to more recent attempts, such as one that described it as a complex concept encompassing a wide set of skills, attitudes, and knowledge when performing tasks with information and communication technologies. Furthermore, there have been various different attempts to describe teachers' digital competence, as a recent literature review demonstrates. These authors evidence that models either depict teachers' digital competence in diverse taxonomies of areas and dimensions, or as a hierarchical and progressive evolution from low to high levels of awareness and ability. They observe that openness does not have a presence in most of the taxonomic models, and thus they propose openness as a dimension of their four-part model under the label of attitudes.
In this current work, we analyze international and national teachers' digital competence frameworks and review whether openness has been included in them, and if so, how it is described. In the case of frameworks that offer a model of increasing performance, we observe the levels at which open-related concepts appear. The analysis has been carried out based on three criteria. Explicit, there is an explicit mention to OER, OEP, and related concepts. Implicit, there is no explicit mention, but the skill is related to OEP by referring to tools and skills such as collaboration, interaction, participating, co-creating, and the critical analysis. And no OEP, there is no explicit reference, but also the skill has nothing to do with OEP. In the DigComp Edu framework by the European Commission, the results of the analysis allows us to observe that areas are developed mostly as implicit skills for OEP. The most explicit reference is in area number 6, facilitating learners' digital competence, responsible use at level A2. In the Spanish framework, the most explicit reference is in the digital content creation, area number 3, skill 2, integration and re-elaboration of digital content. Openness appears in the dimension about attitudes for which teachers know about the OER repositories. In the ISTE standards for educators, the explicit references to OEP can be found in two areas. Area 2, teacher as leader, about digital content creation and Creative Commons licenses, and Area 3, teacher as citizen, on the usage of Creative Commons licenses. In the UNESCO framework, the analysis showed that the explicit references are included in three areas. Area 2, on curriculum and assessment, about the adaptation of OER to curriculum standards. Area 4, on the application of digital skills, for which OER are an option among other software and skills. And Area 3, about teacher professional learning, in which the skills to use open licenses are included. General overview shows that the most committed teachers' digital framework to OEP is the one by UNESCO, with three areas that include explicit references.
An initial review of the frameworks by the European Commission, UNESCO, ISTE, and INTEF indicates that openness typically does not constitute a dimension in itself and tends to appear with greater presence at intermediate and high levels of teachers' digital competence. However, there are some slight attempts of early introduction to OEP in the Digicom Edu and UNESCO frameworks, where access to OER is present already at the lowest levels. Applying the lens of the threshold concepts to open education, again, we can say that of the 8 characteristics of the threshold concepts identified in the core literature of this framework, we consider that 3 in particular offer the maximum potential for understanding the evolution of teachers towards the open educator identity: transformative, troublesome, and liminal. We argue the transformative impact on identity in the process of becoming an open educator, the troublesomeness inherent in this evolution, and the liminal space through which the evolving teachers progress. This complex process needs time and reflection and should start as early as possible. In this paper, we reflect on the need for international and national frameworks of teacher professional development to boost openness, in particular for open educational practices to be included at lower levels of teachers' pre-service and in-service professional education. We argue that becoming an open educator requires both the development of the dispositions associated with reflective practice and the confidence to challenge neoliberal educational assumptions in order to embrace participatory, equitable, and open educational practices from the early stages of the development of teachers' digital competence. Thanks for your attention. Enjoy the OER20 conference and stay at home.